Miss Ruta, Miss Toni. It's no baloney that we are the talk of the town. Big and around, round, 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 all around town. Talking town, walking round, come on along and you will see stars at play, night and day, a delicious potpourri, and the dish of the day.
Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Toni Holt Kramer.
And I'm Ruta Lee, and we're delighted to have you with us. To start out the show today, we're going to take you to visit with a group called Shanti. Shanti supports the drive against AIDS. They had a wonderful event that we covered, and we want to take you to it.
And then from there, we're going to introduce you to a man who just interviewed us. One of the most famous, the biggest, they say even bigger than Jay Leno. Can't be. The wonderful Clive James in London. And he interviewed us via satellite.
So, stay tuned because we have a wonderful show for you today on Talk of the Town.
It's the talk of the town.
I stay in your hotel all the time.
Come on, come on, come
My
on, come on.
hotel is the best place to go to. It is absolutely wonderful. My wife and I, when I used to do a television show called Lots of Luck, and I went to your hotel all the time, and she comes in and she vacuums the lobby. She's there. She takes care of you. You know, you ring downstairs, I need some more towels. She walks in. She looks like this, and she gives you a nice towel.
She gives great room service, too.
The best, the best.
I know.
I do great lip service, too.
That's
And
right.
ladies and gentlemen, in case you haven't recognized,
How could anyone
it's Mr. and Mrs. Dom DeLuise.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Right, and we love you on Gene's show, your show with
Yes.
Gene. It's wonderful.
We have a good time. Burke's Law every Friday.
No, now every Tuesday.
That's what I mean, every Tuesday.
Every
I was just
Tuesday at
wanting
10.
to see
Every
if you were
Tuesday at 10
paying
p.m.
attention.
It's okay, but you know we're glad you got back on with it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we did 14 episodes, and now we're waiting maybe to be picked up. It doesn't really matter. My sons are working, so if they work, they come home and they bring us, you know, leftovers, and we're all right.
Speaking
You
of
have what
leftovers,
to eat.
Dom, you owe me a cookbook.
I do.
2 years ago, you said, Ruta Lee, I promise you a cookbook.
I promise you that when I make a promise, and no matter how long it takes me, you'll get one. But now that you've embarrassed me in public, you're going to get one.
Carol, honey, do you have a great deal to do with the recipes in the cookbook?
Oh, a lot.
She ate every one of them.
You designed it. You designed it.
That's
No, I
right.
eat them. But you're a great cook, aren't
am
you?
a
What's
great
your
cook.
most fabulous favorite food?
I would imagine pasta. I make it all different kinds of ways. I do like pasta. But if you come to my house, you eat pasta that's been cooked just before you put the fork to it. You know what I mean?
Excuse me, is tomorrow too soon?
Tomorrow.
I wanted to know if Monday was okay.
Oh, Monday's okay.
Good. Monday's good. You'll have meatballs. There's still
love
left.
you.
My
It
favorite
was great. Great to see you.
Great to see you.
We're
Where are you
so
going
happy.
this
We're
summer?
married 30 years. We never had an argument.
Because she
Why?
can't get a word in edgewise.
That's why.
Tippi, I would
good to
never
see you.
recognize you without your leopards and
I know.
tiger skins and all those
I
wonderful.
don't know. Do you remember the elephant walk we went on?
Yes, we'll never
those
forget it.
two beautiful elephants that we saw that you had rescued and helped, who were the most wonderful and so intelligent.
They are indeed.
And you fed them florets right down under their tongue so they don't have bad breath.
That's right.
They
Yes.
were so much fun, and the
Yes.
tigers and the gossip that goes on out there at
Isn't it
Shambhala.
fun? Yes.
The most fun place in the whole world.
Thank you.
Shambhala, and a wonderful, wonderful show that we did there with you last year.
Yes, you did. And I'll never forget the two of you coming out in your beautiful safari clothes. I told my crew, I said, you know, these two girls are going to come out and they'll be in safari clothes, but they will be safari clothes that you have never seen before.
We
And-
really dressed down
yes,
for that one.
we did.
You know, the safari hats with the diamonds on them and gold
Feathers.
lame on the leopard prints.
Of
It was
course. Tippi, how many films did you make for Alfred Hitchcock?
I did two, Marnie and the Birds. I did the Birds first and then Marnie.
I love both of them. I love both of them. They were terrific. And Marnie was one of my all-time favorites. And, of course, The Birds, which co-starred Rod Taylor.
And Marnie was with Sean Connery, which isn't all bad either.
Not
Tough
all
work,
bad.
tough work.
Somebody has to do it, right?
Well, Tippi, it is such a joy
Time to go back, Ruta.
to visit, and how nice of you to extend your efforts and your love to Shanti and getting rid of that accursed thing called AIDS.
Well, this is
Yes.
a very, very important event that's going on this evening, and a great tribute to Joe. You know, so this is wonderful. This is important work, and it's nice to see it so well attended. You know, it's beautiful.
Well, one event for charity brings out people who support other charities. Ginni Mancini is the head mother of Society of Singers, and along with Ginny is wonderful Ray Charles.
The vice president.
Membership. Now,
Membership chairman, you should all join immediately, because what we do is we are here to help singers who find themselves in dire straits. What most people don't know is that every time they hear a singer on radio or television, a record, the singer gets nothing for that. And most of the singers, particularly the big band singers, were paid $25 maybe to make the record and never got another cent for it. And very often the record companies didn't keep up with the royalties. These people find themselves in very dire straits now.
We also help singers who are suffering from AIDS, and
Yes.
many of our clients are AIDS patients. So we need to get that in, because we're here to support Shanti and the wonderful work that they do. I personally have lost maybe 14 or 15 very, very close friends of mine with this horrific disease, and I just hope they find the answer soon.
Society of Singers, of course, we have often covered your wonderful event every year, and it is the most glamorous, the most exciting. Last year you honored Peggy Lee, and who are you going to honor this year?
Funny you should ask, because the decision has just been made. We're going to honor Steve and Edie on December 7th.
It's a first,
Gonna be a
folks.
hot-
We've got the exclusive.
That's right. This is the exclusive.
Oh, that's exciting. And you know, they just appeared at the McCullum Theater in Palm Springs.
I
Palm
understand, broke
Desert.
it up.
And the reviews on their performance were so overwhelming. Well, they are such great
Oh, they're
talent.
just
So
great.
what an excitement. Well, we want to tell you right now, Talk of the Town will be there.
And I do invite every one of our audience to find out. In fact, we'll ask you now how one out there comes to probably one of the most super events that is ever created in Hollywood. And Ginni Mancini is head mama, and she will see to it that you get tickets. Now, where do they call?
Well, they call the Society of Singers 213-651-1696.
Say that one more time.
Oh, we have two numbers now.
Say that one.
213-651-1696. And you don't have to be a singer to belong to the Society of Singers.
No.
Do you belong?
I was
do.
one of the founding members. I felt like I belonged.
I love it.
Absolutely, I will
And
belong.
we want to say something else too, that it's not only the one big event during the year, but all the time there are wonderful, intimate events that go on that are so musical and so lovely and so fabulous. So it's a wonderful way to fill your calendar and do something that is so much fun as well and help a lot of others.
Well, we brought you some highlights from the Shanti event. Toni and I are very mindful of the tremendous need to fight AIDS, and we will be bringing you many scenes from many events that do exactly that. Now,
Coming up next, well, we're going to introduce you to the one and only talk show host, Clive James, and he's interviewing us. So stay tuned right after this message from Kennedy Cabot.
It's the talk of the town.
Well, Ruta and I were just so thrilled to be interviewed by Clive James via satellite and to have the honor of being his opening show for the new season. You know, Clive James, Ruta will tell you, is seen all over the world.
he is probably one of the most important talk show hosts in this universe. And I'm delighted to say that we've been seen in Australia, in India, in the English-speaking world.
Well, why not? Don't we speak English?
So now you can watch it right here because we want you to meet Clive James the way he introduced us to his audience.
Ruta Lee and Toni, Holt, Kramer, can you hear me?
Oh, yes we can, and a big Hollywood hello to you, our darling Clive, and your beautiful UK
And
audience.
from me too, Clive, hello to you and hello to everyone out there. We're so happy to be visiting with you today.
If I could start with you, Toni. Talk of the Town's had a fantastic success throughout Southern California. What's the secret of your success?
I think probably the fact that we are without script, we are without any form of even knowing sometimes who's going to be on the show. And so we just go in and we have a wonderful time. It's really a party for us as well. So, you know, if you're a hostess at your home, you're going to give it your all. And I think that's what we do with the show, too. It's very natural and very just clowning around, and people never know what we're going to say because we never know what we're going to say.
Ruta, you both clearly have a special, what's the word, a special rapport with your audience. Is that important to you?
Very important to me. I'm a stage animal, as is Toni in many ways, and I'm also a salesperson. I've raised money for so many charities for so many years that touching an audience physically, touching them emotionally is very, very important to me. And I like to feel that I'm leaving an audience with a smile, just a little happier than I left them. And you know, I'm a great hostess too. Toni and I are both hostesses, and I've hosted so many charitable events. We're doing black ties every night, it seems.
Tonight too.
Yes, that I'm always eager to make everybody feel very comfortable and very much at home. My husband has a line. He says, Ruta, you know, you on an elevator ride introduce everybody to each other. God forbid they shouldn't have a good ride.
It's true, Clive. I mean, it really is. And I think our love of people is probably it.
Couldn't it be said that the beautiful people already sort of appreciate themselves? They don't need as much appreciation as you give them?
Well, who did you want to answer? I didn't hear.
Beautiful people need to be nurtured to stay beautiful. It isn't all done with plastic surgery, you know.
Well, there's two different things. Clive is asking, are we kind of feeding their ego? I think that's what you're really
Something
saying.
like that,
are we overdoing it with their egos? And I think what we kind of try to do is get them, when we know that they're very ego and very much into themselves, what we try to do is ask them questions that kind of throw them. You know, ask somebody a very personal question, not tell them how wonderful they look, not how pretty they look, not how fabulous a performer they are, but say, you know, what have you done lately that's something at home? I mean, you know, if you were home tonight, what would you really be wearing? What would you really be doing? And who would you really be talking to? And when you're depressed, what gets you depressed?
You know, we've had
the most
toughs.
outrageous questions.
We've had some toughies.
Right.
Steven Seagal is no easy interview.
I'll say that.
He is tough.
And so is Schwarzenegger. He's not
Schwarzenegger's tough.
easy either.
But we got them both smiling.
Right.
Had to pinch you know who on the ass. But excuse me,
we do whatever we have to do to get a laugh out of them and to get them to loosen up with us. And sometimes that means, and usually like a Seagal, who is very much aware, you get the feeling of himself, you kind of take it in a different way, so that you kind of disarm him a little bit.
Disarming Steven Seagal isn't easy. He carries 45s and machine guns, doesn't he?
You know, he carries
you know
them.
what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, you know.
How did you get Arnold Schwarzenegger to relax again? Which part of, was it of him that you pinched?
That nice part.
His bun.
What you darling Brits call on his bum.
And is what we say, right? Close to it.
Girls, if I can call you girls, I can call you girls. Do you ever get to meet?
Always.
Do you ever get to meet the grateful members of your viewing public in person?
Oh, yes, indeed we do, because we're always part of the group. We'll go in after we do the interviews, and we'll be walking around the places where we are, and we've all had fabulous experiences. I know I had a great one last year that stayed in my mind so much, because we were at the Peterson Automotive Museum for a great opening there, which is a fabulous place to go to. And this woman was so excited. She was sitting in a wheelchair just in the group of people waiting to get in. And she said, Toni, 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 oh, I have to talk to you so much. You and Ruta give me all of my pleasures, and I live from week to week to see the show, because it's the only way I get out and know what's really going on in the world. And when you know that you're reaching people who are shut-ins, people whose lives are not as fortunate as ours is.
Do you get on with each other? Are you really bosom buddies, Toni?
Oh, yeah. You know, we really are. We were actually bosom buddies way before we worked together. That's what's so ironic about it. We've been friends for many, many years, and Ruta is a very nurturing person. She accepts everybody's problems as if they are her own and puts them right on her shoulder as well. So I have been going through some terrible things in my personal life, and Ruta said, don't worry, and she was hanging on to me and making sure everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, from this, all these other things kind of came into place, and it was just such a natural, because people say, I can't believe that the two of you really get on that well. It's not to say that at times we don't get a little rough with each other, because we can. That's natural. Husbands and wives do it. You know, everybody does it when you're together all the time. But we've traveled around the world many times together on the same yacht and have never had a crossword.
Nor is it ever going to be a crossword.
Right.
There just isn't enough time in life for that. And I think that's what we try to do with our show. We try to make it a good news show. There are so many people out in this world that are just looking for chinks in your armor and places to dig their claws. And we're just saying, oh, what the hell, let the sun shine in.
They can't ever believe it about us either, because, you know, they always think that when women look nice, they're going to be bitches. And we have a different feeling about it. We feel that we were very blessed, and we're very grateful to have the health and the looks that we have, and so therefore we feel to spread a little joy, spread a little happiness, and really appreciate, and to have a loving soul inside that comes through.
Clive, you know, of course, that how we started doing this show was through your very good friend and your audience's good friend, Linda Talon.
Oh, yeah.
And we bless her, of course, every day that we're together, and even when we're not, because she's the one who made us promise her on her deathbed that we would continue the show. Well, in her honor, not only have we continued it, but it has grown and grown, and now we're going to be in Asia and Australia, and here we are with you
and
in
Singapore,
London. And oh, it's just wonderful.
Well, your dedication to your task is exemplary, but there's just one question I want to ask about it. Don't you ever tire of this Hollywood life? Because there's a black tie dinner every night, isn't there?
Just about, yes. We don't go to one every night, but I would say we average at least one a week for 52 weeks a year.
Oh, easily.
And sometimes people are a little rough and tough on you, and it's difficult. You know what's difficult? Being in films all of my life and being a sort of celebrity in my own right, and Toni in her own right, we're now on the other side. We're in the media side now, and sometimes we don't get treated like celebrities, but we get treated by media as media. And that's not quite as charming as getting the red carpet treatment that you normally get. But somehow we manage to smile our way through and work our way through. And what's really nice is that most of the people that we're interviewing have something wonderful to say, and the audience wants to hear, like your audience does. So it's kind of a blessing for a blessing. Yes, we do go to Palm Springs.
Yes, that's our refuge.
We fall into our houses.
And we have houses just about a minute apart. And we get down there, we wash our faces, we put on shorts and T-shirts and sneakers, and we walk and climb the hills and do all those things and pull our hair back, and you wouldn't know us if you fell over us. That's why we don't care.
Girls, you're both looking gorgeous. And
thank you.
Is it tough to stay? I have to choose my words carefully here. Is it tough to stay so young looking when you're surrounded by these young actresses like Julia Roberts, and even she's now considered a senior actress compared with some of the ones.
Yes, it indeed makes you work very hard. It keeps you very aware and very critical of yourself. And if you let it get too out of hand, it can become very, very negative. So I think what we both do is that we put a great emphasis on our teeth and our smiles. We figure if we smile a lot, no one's going to pay attention too much to the rest of the things. And I think that we do care about, we put a little more effort into walking, and we put a little more effort into doing whatever we have to do to kind of stay together, but not be obsessive about it. And
Clive, I've always said, We always look exactly the way we did 30 years ago. It just takes us a hell of a lot longer.
That's right. We start 2 hours earlier.
Can I say, has plastic surgery ever entered the picture? Is that a way of putting it?
Of course! Are you out of your mind? I mean, I was sitting here saying, I bet to you all we look like the Queen Mum and Barbara Cartland with a lot of facelifts.
Now, don't get carried away. I mean, we haven't done that much. But
No.
you know, we'll do a little something here and a little something there, and we'll try. We read about everything. We'll try anything, practically. And, you know, we think that if we don't ever do anything too radical and too major all at one time, we just do little bits and pieces and odds and sods. That way, we kind of stay the same. And I think we have, because when we look at film clips from 10 and 15 years ago, we still look, in fact, I think we might even say we look a bit better because we're more relaxed. You know?
We are known as nip and tuck, yes.
Sorry, I
Nip
interrupted
and
you.
tuck, right?
You know, I wanted to tell you that our very, very good friend Phyllis Diller, of course, who is an exponent of plastic surgery and, tells it all, has a wonderful line that I dearly love. She said, you know, I have been pulled up so tight that this dimple in my chin is really my belly button.
Ruta,
Also,
you've
we
interviewed
always
a lot of you've interviewed a lot of extraordinary people in your time. Is there anyone you'd still like to meet?
Oh, yes. You know, of course, that last year in May, I was in your beautiful England and spent a month in London doing Funny Bones. So I interviewed some pretty interesting people while I was there, including your bad boy, Oliver Reed, whom I absolutely adored. But I'll tell you who I did not interview, and I'm hoping that maybe when the picture opens in September or whatever, that we can come over. I would give my front teeth to meet and spend a half a day or maybe just a half hour with Margaret Thatcher. I happen to think that she is an extraordinary lady who has chutzpah, she has style, she has pizzazz, and she has a whim of iron, and I love it.
But you can't afford to give up your 2 front teeth.
Oh, you're right.
Unless you have the dentist with 2 behind you, you know.
Well, I wish you luck
And would you like to...
I wish you luck in meeting Margaret Thatcher. You've got to realize that Oliver Reed has a much more tender personality than she has.
Well, you know, Oliver Reed has a very tender personality because when we were doing the interview, I had tea arranged, and then I said, or would you like something a little stronger? And he said yes. And into the teacups, we poured vodka, and we sipped tea. And it was laced with vodka, and it was great fun, so no wonder his personality is so tender.
Did he show you his tattoo by any chance?
Unfortunately, no, but that gives me something else to look forward to in this life.
It's time to say, Ruta and Toni, thank you very much.
Thank you, Clive. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Clive, we thank you for your interest in us, and may we send kisses to you and all of your viewers, and may God keep smiling on all of us.
Indeed.
It's the talk of the town.
Oh, Toni, I think it was great fun to be on the receiving end and have Clive James holding the mic on us.
Right, even 6,000 miles away, Ruta, huh? Well, next week, Talk of the Town will return with lots of our celebrated guests. So until then, thanks to those good people at Kennedy Cabot, I'm Toni Holt Kramer.
And I'm Ruta Lee. Please join us next week.
Keep a good thought.
Of the day, we'll serve it.
Girls, we've got a fabulously successful TV show here called Absolutely Fabulous, and it's coming to America soon, and I think you two would be wonderful in it.
Well, I have to tell you, Clive, we have heard that from people for over a year. People everywhere we go, they say, you two should do Absolutely Fabulous. But I did hear that Carrie Fisher has been cast for the one role, and the part that Joanna Lumley does, which of course I wanted madly, has been cast by Jerry Hall, Mick Jagger's wife. So if it's true, it looks like until they decide that we are really much more
better.
fabulous, we've lost it for the time being.
With our voices, please, darling.
Right, of course.